There are four types of people I quietly removed from my life, and everything changed, not overnight, not in some dramatic, loud way, but slowly, gently. My life became lighter. For most of my years, I held on to people, even when it hurt, even when it felt one-sided, even when something deep inside me whispered, "This isn't right." I believed that holding on made me a good person. I believed that patience would fix everything. I believed that if I just gave a little more, things would change. But they didn't. All that changed was me. I became quieter, more tired, more unsure of myself. Until one day, I realized something very simple. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay. And more importantly, not everyone deserves access to your energy. The first type I let go of were the ones who only showed up when they needed something. They would call, message, suddenly appear, but only when they wanted help, attention, or support. And I would always be there. I would listen, give, show up without hesitation. But when I needed someone, they were nowhere to be found. At first, I made excuses for them. They're busy. They're going through something. But over time, the pattern became clear. I was not valued. I was convenient. And there's a quiet kind of pain in realizing that. So I stopped. Not with anger, not with confrontation. I simply stopped being available to people who were only available when it suited them. The second type were the ones who made me feel small, without ever saying it directly. They didn't insult me. They didn't shout. But somehow, after every conversation, I felt less than who I was. It was in their tone, their subtle remarks, their quiet way of dismissing my thoughts. And for a long time, I couldn't even explain it. I just knew. I didn't feel good around them. And that is something we often ignore. We wait for something obvious, something loud, but sometimes the quiet discomfort is the truth. So I began to trust that feeling, and I chose distance over constantly questioning my worth. The third type were the ones who drained my energy every single time. You know the kind. You meet them, and you leave feeling exhausted. Not because you talk too much, but because everything feels heavy around them. There is always a problem, always negativity, always something that pulls you down. And I used to think it was my responsibility to carry that weight, to fix it, to be there, no matter how it affected me. But I learned something important. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and constantly giving your energy to people who only take will slowly leave you with nothing. So I stepped back, not because I didn't care, but because I finally started caring about myself too. And the fourth type, this one took me the longest to understand, the ones who never truly celebrated your happiness. They would smile, but it didn't feel real. They would say, "I'm happy for you," but something felt missing. There was no warmth, no genuine joy. Sometimes they would even change the subject or find a way to make your moment feel smaller. And that kind of energy is something you should never ignore. Because the right people, they feel your happiness, they celebrate you without comparison, without hesitation. And once I experienced that, I could no longer accept anything less. So I let go, quietly, without announcements, without anger, just a gentle decision to choose peace over attachment. And something beautiful happened. My mind became calmer. My heart felt lighter. My days felt easier. There was less noise, less confusion, less emotional weight. And in that quiet space, I found myself again, the version of me that didn't feel the need to prove anything, the version of me that felt enough, just as I was. So if you're holding on to people who make you question your worth, who drain your energy, who only show up when it suits them, or who can't truly be happy for you, let me tell you something gently. You don't have to keep them in your life. Letting go doesn't make you a bad person. Sometimes it's the most loving thing you can do for yourself, because peace truly begins where these people end.